Why does publisher, aka the game publisher from the West, still thinks gamers don't buy games? That will be true if did they even disclose about the indie, how gamers are now buying indie, or maybe games made in the East? Oh yeah, I remember Ubisoft said that many gamers are buying fewer games, and many gamers prefer live service, which obviously isn't true. They're still single player games like Stellar Blade.
Cover video games, the industry, everything around it. Consider subscribing. Don't do it yet. Your time is incredibly valuable. I want you to be sure of the decisions you make. So stick around for a bit, maybe watch some other videos on the channel, and then subscribe. Let's get into it. Let's start off with the most important piece of information here, which is that study from Game Discover Co. Compared to the basic info that you can get, for example, checking Steam stats, they didn't just look at the revenue. When you look at those sorts of databases, what you're going to get is the average. But what Game Discover Co. has done by going all the way back to 2023 and examining the top 50 best-selling games on Steam every month is look at the median. The average basically accounts for every potential data point and looks for a true middle, including outliers, while the median is going to help us understand a lot better within specific price brackets by trying to sort out those outliers. They're doing this to look at raw number of copies sold instead of the overall revenue, because obviously gigantic AAA games that are sold at $70 or for a little bit there $80 until some of the publishers backed out of that, those skew the revenue tremendously, meaning that if we're looking at total revenue percentages across Steam, those games are always going to stand out. But looking at the actual number of copies sold of a game tells a completely different story.
That's true.
That directly contradicts all these topics of gamers are buying less games. The median price from 2023 to now has dropped by 20%, from $19.50 to $15.64. It doesn't stop there though, because if we also apply the median to revenue, we'll also see that the median price of games, when sorting by revenue, goes down 14%. In other words, gamers are buying cheaper games. Games around the $10 mark, highly replayable games that offer more niche experiences that cater towards them. But even then, some of the most popular games of the last years have been considerably cheaper titles. These are data points that we can look at and determine an actual trend that's happening. Less and less people are spending large sums of money on one AAA game, and more people are actually spending smaller amounts of money on smaller games. The question then becomes, why?
Okay, so here's the real question, folks. Why do they do it? Because, well, for starters, time and money. When you get older, you can barely, people have less time to either play or even buy something, okay? And games are not expensive. The economy sucks. Sorry, that will be cut. So, basically, right now, many people, because of their disposable income, okay? The disposable income makes it where people have, well, they have to be picky with their choosing, okay? Just like I am. Whatever game I play on Steam, I will always either buy it for a discount or I buy it during sales, like say spring sale, summer sale, autumn, Black Friday, whatever it is. I'll buy it through there. And I'm 100% certain many of you have bought this game or have bought games during Black Friday, or better yet, clearance sale, right? You always buy that during that time, and because you want to save money. Here, let me give you, for example, a game that is called Them and Us in Steam. I checked, it was 60 Malaysian ringgit, but when I look at a website that I called it Loaded, that's the website where I bought all my Steam games, mostly, it is 11 Malaysian ringgit. right now, currently at least.
Is this happening when it hasn't been the case before? And to me, it comes down to a confluence of three very important factors: the quality of AAA games and those that are charging premium prices, the socioeconomic circumstances of what the gamer demographic is, and of course, the changes in price brackets and rise of indie games. So let's check those out in that order, huh? I think I'm not going out on a limb when I say that the way that we view AAA studios has changed considerably. And this isn't just a question about hardcore gamers or the most informed customers that, for example, are watching this video. The average quality of AAA premium releases has gone down. Games like Call of Duty Black Ops 7 prove that people are tired of just buying the same thing for the same premium price to get a new weapon and map pack with another skin on which to level up your guns. People have gotten tired of the live service treadmill, and they've gotten tired of being expected to pay very high prices for games that often don't even work or have fatal flaws that don't accompany the premium price tag. It's not crazy to assume that if you're going to be charging me $80, that means that at some point during your production cycle, you actually tested this game to make sure that it didn't constantly crash. And every time that a $70 game releases and constantly crashes, faith in spending that money, especially at release, goes down. The quality of these premium games has been lacking for a long time, but of course it takes a while for the average customer to really notice what's going on. But they've caught on because a lot of the time these things have been flagrant, and it's not just about PCs anymore. We've seen these games have terrible outcomes on console as well. And so, if you know that buying a game on launch is not just very expensive and becoming more expensive as time goes on, but those games are actually incomplete, often not working correctly, or are asking you for a time commitment that you don't have, why wouldn't you just wait for it to be patched, have its DLC included, and buy it a couple of years down the line for considerably cheaper? Add on to that the fact that there is an obsession with subscription services, telling us that in reality what you want to do is play the game on the cloud via Xbox Game Pass and not actually own your game. They've been telling us that we don't own them for so long that when they try and sell them to us for $70 or $80 and then tell us, or you can get a subscription for $18 a month or $30 for the new Game Pass, more and more people are going to take them up on that. And we've already seen studies that show that the subscription service effect just leads to people playing games on average for less time, meaning that they jump into a game, install it, check it out, like it or not, but then they move on to the next thing. Oh my, I wonder who could have predicted that. All of these things considerably contribute to the fall of the premium game. When I look at a game's price tag at $80 while they're offering me a subscription service, they are accomplishing what they theoretically want and now complain about. Of course I'm going to sign up for the subscription service. It's considerably cheaper than the $80. But when I look at a bunch of smaller indie games that range between $20 to $30 in price, I'd much rather own those than have a subscription service charging me every month. So when we're talking about number of sales, the trend goes downward towards those cheaper games. But this is only one part of the puzzle.
Couldn't you blame gamers if they decide to choose indie game over AAA? Look. Remember,
next time,
gamers are now well informed, okay? They want to make sure what they're buying, okay? What they're buying is worth it. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is, indie or AA, they will have to make sure what they're buying is worth their time and money, okay? Even for me, right now, I think my latest premium game I played, it was actually Where Winds Meet. Yes, I know it's free to play, but despite Where Winds Meet is free to play, that will be my last game for 2025. At least until Resident Evil 9. I don't know if I could play it. Or Ties of Annihilation, okay? I'm waiting for that. Ouch. Yes, I'm waiting for Ties of Annihilation. Ooh. Boom. Boom.
That's gonna leave a bruise.
I don't know when Tides of Annihilation is going to come out, but I'm probably waiting for it. I'll buy it. Again, they want someone. Look, I think when people say, okay, let me just get rid of them in a minute. I think, in my opinion, when people say things such as, oh, if you don't like it, don't buy it, or in this case, don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next product. That doesn't work, okay?
I have to talk about the socioeconomic part of the whole thing, and I hate to say socioeconomic and sound like I'm just a crazy professor at a university or something, because
I wouldn't say that.
It sounds like a big word when it really isn't. In the last 5 years, we've seen the average gamer's age go up. We've seen the average amount of gamers go up. We've seen more and more people that are in the disposable income bracket, and according to my YouTube analytics, most of you watching, and they are of course much more important to the actual economy and how games work than kids, because kids don't have disposable income.
That's right.
So the market has been growing as more and more people are interested in gaming, and more people are expected to consider themselves gamers and have gaming as a hobby. And this also goes in line with how the overall world of gaming has grown. From mobile to consoles to PCs to all sorts of different games, from the casual market that they have been obsessed with for years to the deepest of the hardcore. But what is also true in all of that time is that prices for things have gone up. And for the first time in pretty much ever, we have seen that the average quality of life and disposable income of a generation is going down.
Yeah.
That means people have less money than they did before, and therefore they have less money to spend on their hobbies and things that they, actually want to do with their life when they're done working. And what do people with less money do?
Sorry about that ads. Here, let me show you. This is the website I used to buy because I wanted to buy on Steam platform, okay? But somehow, for some reason, my transaction didn't get through for some reason. So I buy it mostly here. Because remember, look at this. Sales. Expedition 33, 50% off, 118. Although for the record, I already have this. Well, my coworker has it. However, there are times where you have to check, can this key be activated, okay? Yes, this is CD key. And it worked, okay? Why do I say this? This is the one I bought about a year ago. This is Black Myth Wukong, okay? I mean, it still has it, although I uninstalled it because, frankly, storage size, okay?
I don't know why I'm asking that rhetorical question and looking at the camera like this is going to be the Dora the Explorer episode. People with less money spend less money.
That's
but
right.
They still spend it. That's the really important thing here. Just because you have less disposable income doesn't mean that you stop eating, living, breathing, and also engaging in your hobbies or things that you actually enjoy. A gamer with less money doesn't stop being a gamer unless they don't have money. But they are considerably more careful with how they spend it. They substitute what used to be more money for more investigation. You don't want to spend your money on something you're going to regret. It's the same thing as when you were a kid and had a limited amount of money, and so you only wanted to buy like the big important games that you knew were going to be good, right? Now, more and more people are having to do the same thing because of their limited budgets, which means that more of you are watching channels like this, carefully informing yourself not just about the games that come out and if they appeal more specifically to you, but also about the companies making them and if they are trying to exploit you. As the average customer spends more time informing themselves of what is a game, is it good, what are the details of it, and give themselves more of a chance to wait and listen to other people's opinions before spending money, not only do they stop buying those bigger games that come out broken, but they start discovering a lot of smaller games that are much more interesting to them. That way, they spend less money on games that are tailor-made for them.
Listen, folks, I too have a limited budget right now currently. And even I have to make sure to see what I spend, okay? I will make sure what I spend is worth it. That's the reason why from now on, whatever games I buy, I will buy it mostly on sales, right? Wait. Oh yeah. Okay, here we are. Sorry about that. I have forgot something. I just remembered. Look, listen. I too, okay? Oh, I too have a limited budget myself, okay? And frankly, from now on, I will always buy games whether it's have discount or on sale, right? Because when you got sales, either 50% off or maybe again, sometimes I will always buy it on sales. I would say this, I would probably buy it on sale, whether it's 30%, well not 30% or 50, maybe 89%. So far, it depends on the game, okay? Because I know usually indie games have pretty cheaper value, at least after they are going on sale, after, or no, not after, during sales. Whether it's Black Friday or Christmas, I highly doubt. But I think Steam has Christmas sales. Here's...
This is better than a spider bite.
So... Oh! Excuse me. So here's the thing, when it is good to have sales, and supposed to inform
Just
things
like
like
a
say
super soldier
where...
serum.
Oh! Excuse me. I believe it is good for gamers to be informed though, because they don't want to waste their money by, what, a slop or anything? They don't. Why would they spend, what, 80 bucks or 70 bucks, whatever the price is for AAA when they can buy a cheaper alternative?
Never had more of them than now. Unsurprisingly, people make a lot of games. They might be small indie studios, solo devs, AI slop that I can't imagine why is whatever.
Like this is a real video game that's releasing apparently, but okay, this is the trailer, so let's look at the gameplay. I didn't put this audio in here, by the way. This is the official audio that they're using for their Steam trailer. So, oh, okay, man.
All sorts of games, but we are definitely living in a golden age of indies and backlogs. There is a higher chance than there ever has been that a developer out there had the same idea and the same sensibilities of what your dream game was and went ahead and made it. And there is a higher chance today with how the market has shifted that that game is actually successful and manages to fund the next project and keep that studio alive for all of those reasons that I touched on before. More indie devs looking to put out what they feel is missing in the video game market means that you find more of what you thought was missing every day. You're tired of the lack of innovation and the repetitive nature, the play it safe or we fail mentality of AAA? Don't worry, there's a bunch of people out there that have nothing to lose and are making games that they believe in. What's even more incredible about that is that we've seen the zeitgeist of video games completely change. It's part of human nature to want to belong to the biggest and strongest tribe. So the most popular games, the ones with the biggest player bases and most concurrent users, are the ones that people gravitate towards because nobody wants to invest their time into a failing game that's going to lose its player base or something. But because of all of those shifts we've seen before and the way that video games can now cater to the individualistic society we live in, more and more people care less about that and more about spending their time on something they care about. And that also has to do with the shifting age range of gamers. But even if we ignored all of that, the zeitgeist of must-play games to talk about at the water cooler has changed significantly. It's no longer about the Assassin's Creeds and the Call of Duties. Now, it's about Peak and Are We There Yet? It used to be Borderlands 4, and now it's Megabong. And of course, the Hollow Knight Silksongs of it all. Sure, Hollow Knight Silksong per units is one of the best-selling games of the year, and that's because everybody bought it. But the fact that it was $20 helped a lot in that. You might say that everybody knew what Hollow Knight Silksong was. It's a massive IP despite it being a tiny indie game. But the truth is that the $20 price tag helps make it so that the buzz that everybody hears about it, the known quantity that it becomes, even if you're not sure if it's going to be for you, you're much more willing to throw down $20 for something that everybody's excited about than you are throwing down $80. And the same thing happens with a ton of indie games nowadays. People are much more willing to join in and give that zeitgeist a try when those prices are lower and focused on something different and innovative. And as people actually give it a try, those player numbers rise and they start to obtain cultural relevancy and new IPs are born. All of that in the lower price brackets where innovation does matter and where people do actually buy new games. See, the interesting thing is that people will buy tons of games every year, and the video game market is healthy as can be. 63% of US gamers buy 2 new games in a year. But more and more gamers are either subscribed to a gaming subscription service or buy or play older games that frequently go on sale. Classics that it doesn't matter anymore what they look like or if they're 10 or 15 years old or anything like that. If the game is good, people will buy it for a lower price and enjoy the heck out of it. And we're seeing that applied to new games as well, as we see that trend downward towards people wanting to buy cheaper, better made games feel tailor-made for you.
1 second.
I've just been informed that one of the nuclear missiles launched. I thought I told you to destroy both consoles. All right. You're going to have to activate the self-destruct for that missile. Get to the navigation room on the double.
Oh. Excuse me. So here's the thing. People will still buy games, okay? What they don't want is, one, broken product, or someone who talks down on them, okay?
Electra! This is a surprise. Just how many times have I got to kill you, sweetheart?
You got lucky during our last battle, Bullseye, and you know it. Now get out of the way. I need to use that computer.
Ha! You think you're gonna stop that missile I launched? You can't use that computer without getting the access card away from me!
I don't think that'll be much of a problem.
You're making me laugh, doll. Tell me before I waste you again. How'd you come back to life?
It's a long story involving some very good friends, like Stick. And
Ah, I knew old DD would be involved somehow. When I'm done with you, I'm gonna settle things with him once and for all.
you'd better just concentrate on the here and now, Bullseye, because you're in for...
Okay, so here's the thing. Many people just want something, for escapism, okay? They don't want someone who talks down on them, okay? They don't want it. I mean, look what's happening in Concord, or in this case, Sucker Punch. They just hired, or in this case, one of their art director, I don't know who she is. She made a joke on the passing of Charlie Kirk. And guess what happens? She got fired. Correction, that's what she did. And also, well, yes, Ghost of Yotei made less than Ghost of Tsushima, but in the end, gamers spoke with their wallets, okay? And Sony did the right thing. Not only that, listen, when it comes to this, I would say this. People just want escapism, okay? People don't want things that talk down on them. Why do you think they play either old games, indie games, AA, or even better yet, video games made in the East? Because all these games, they give something that gamers want, which is escapism, fun game. That's all we want. Look, every game just want fun games that don't talk down on them.
Well done. Missile harmlessly self-destructed. You've averted a nuclear disaster. Bullseye was there? Doom must really be serious about recruiting talent.
Colonel Fury, the Masters of Evil are attacking our stabilizing engines. There's too many for me to stop alone.
Black Widow, do not engage the enemy. I want you out of there immediately. Team, double time it and save that engine.